Sully, good morning, man.
What's happening, bud? You awake?
I've been awake for quite some time, man.
What do you got to be? Who do you got in the McGregor Mayweather fight tonight? Who do you like?
I like Mayweather in early TKO.
How long you think? How long you think McGregor can hang around? 3 or 4 rounds?
Yeah, about the 4th round. There's the fight he fought Nate Diaz. I thought he was gassed in like the 2nd round there, and then he came back out of nowhere. So I'm not going to sit here and knock his stamina, but it's a little. I mean, the whole discipline is so different. I mean,
yep.
The whole it's a fight. I get it, but one's a science, one's combat. Yep. It's like boxing is a science. I mean, there's a technician to it, and there's a pace to it, where the other discipline is just. It's a combat. It's like warfare in that octagon. So, I like Mayweather. I think now I wouldn't be shocked if McGregor just threw a bomb and caught him. And Mayweather, if McGregor threw a bomb and caught him, and Mayweather hasn't been hit like that before. But he's such a great defensive boxer. I mean, even at 40 years old, his defense is the best that some people have ever seen. To say a guy who's never boxed before is going to walk in there and penetrate that, I find hard to believe, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't even think he's had a broken nose in his career, so it's not like he's easy to hit.
No, not at all.
So tell us about the A-Shore experience. Obviously, you've experienced this before, but a whole new group of kids. And what was it like down there in Arkansas? You guys finished, I guess, 3rd in the nation. And I'm sure it was a great experience for these kids getting to go away for 10 days and enjoy some really high-level competitive baseball and just the whole experience of being together and hanging out at the pool and going out to dinners and all that kind of stuff. Great experience for a bunch of 13-year-olds.
Yeah, it was a long day getting down there. I mean, when we got to the airport in Philly, as soon as we walked in, Channel 6 Action News is there waiting for us. So it was just like right off the bat, it was just like, okay, stuff's happening here. But it was a long travel day. We went from Summers Point to Philly, then from Philly to Atlanta, sat in the airport for a couple of hours, and went from Atlanta to Little Rock, then went from Little Rock on a charter bus to Mountain Home for 3 hours on that bus.
Wow.
So one whole day was spent just traveling just to get to this place. But once we got there, as soon as we got off the bus, we had to go into a meeting to meet the World Series, staff, and they gave us all our credentials and the rules for the week, and we were there for a good hour, and then the next day you got right into it. You were into a skills competition, and there was a banquet that night that had a really good speaker. Then the next day there was a parade, and before you even played a game there was so much pomp and circumstance that you were like, all right, let's get this thing rolling. But it's hard to appreciate it for 13-year-old kids when it's actually happening. Like, these kids are in a parade, and they're kind of like, all right, I've had my fill of being on this float. And this whole town is out there, like, waving and throwing candy at these kids. And they're just kind of sitting there like, all right, let's go. But they don't appreciate it as much at 13 as I think they will down the road. So that was really cool to kind of get it off. And then, we played really well. Once we got there, we went 4-0 in pool play. So we had the number 1 seed going into the tournament. And just the day that we lost just was the one day this summer we did not hit the ball. And those things happen in baseball. We gave up 4 unearned runs. So in reality, even though we didn't hit the ball, we could have won the game 1-0.
Right.
But just wasn't meant to be that day. We played a really good team from Tallahassee, Florida. To put in perspective, their coach, I had talked to their coach. They had about 250 kids to choose from, and he asked me how many we had, and I said 25. So, just a little perspective, the team that won the whole World Series, Tri-Valley, California, their coach said as soon as they finish this tournament, they have sign-ups for next year's tournament and tryouts, and over 350 kids will sign up and try out for that team.
Wow.
And I told him we have 25. So, and we had every bit of chance to beat the team that won it if we had played well, the one day, but it just wasn't our day. And, we finished 3rd in the country against, Tallahassee, Florida, and Tri-Valley, California is like right outside of Oakland. So those areas are a little bit bigger than we're drawing from. But, hey, We're toe to toe with those guys. They believe me, when we get to these World Series, they know who we are.
Right. What was the kids' reaction of being at the World Series and stepping on those fields? I'm sure they take great care of the field, so it's a great experience baseball wise, and just being in the dugout and compete for a national title. That's got to be a real thrill for these kids.
Well, the field we played on was turf, which was kind of cool. The infield was immaculate. I asked my shortstop, how would you rate the field? He said, "Oh, it's a 10," because we're playing on a lot of the fields in this area, which, they're not bad, but they're certainly not 10s. And, and the outfield was grass. Now, that was a little tricky because the outfield was grass and the infield was turf. The dugouts were, if you ask the coaches in the league and stuff, I rate the field based on the dugout because that's where I'm hanging out most of the time. And a lot of the dugouts in our area are not very good. These dugouts were immaculate. I mean, these kids were like major league ball players. The dugouts were huge. There was so much space. You had the half rail so that they could just kind of lean over and see. They don't have a fence in front of their face.
Right.
So the dugouts were great. The field, the facility was awesome with the turf field, so the bounces were really true the whole week. They actually had a field where they did the skills competition that I thought was nice enough to host a World Series game. It was a beautiful field, and they just used that for the skills competition. Now, we were lucky enough, every team gets appointed a bat boy for the week, and our bat boy's father had access to this indoor facility, which was unbelievable. It was a former bowling alley that they gutted and turned into batting cages and like a 50-70 field so that you could take infield in there.
Wow.
And all pitching mounds and stuff. So we had access to that for most of the week that we were there. In this place, I mean, you talk about some of the indoor facilities that you see in this area, this place was unbelievable. Just think about a bowling alley gutted with batting cages, chutes and fields that you could take. Like literally, we took infield and outfield inside this facility. It was awesome. So,
that's incredible, yeah.
I mean, there's reason people ask, like, I'll be honest, Mountain Home, Arkansas, beautiful place, a lot of nice scenery. Ain't nothing to do there. Holy moly. But some people would say, how do they get this? It costs, it's a $50,000 fee to host the World Series. Plus, in the end, it probably cost you upwards of $200,000 to host that thing. And people would say, why would they host these things? Well, they have these facilities. You brought 500 people there for the entire stay, and everywhere you went, you saw teams eating out, spending money. So dollar for dollar, they probably made over $200,000 back. I mean, each team went out there spending a couple $100 every time they go out to eat. So it's a pretty cool experience. It was, the kids, they stay in the hotel. They get themselves into trouble. They're 13 years old. That's the challenging part is you're trying to convince these 13-year-old kids, hey, we're not here for vacation. We're here to win. And, but that's every team. Every team's running around. You see kids everywhere. It's this really small town, so you're running into everybody. But, yeah, I mean, it was a really cool experience in a place that was very, very remote. Like it's funny because our host family took us out, and, they show you around and down there, we ordered frog legs the one day. So, I mean, literally, this looked like a bullfrog got chopped in half and they just fried it. And we're like, here you go. It was crazy. Catfish is pretty big down there. I've had my fill of barbecue food for the rest of the year. I mean, everywhere you go, it's barbecue food and hush puppies. I mean, it's just different. It's just way different. But that's the cool experience about it. You get to see that experience for a couple of days.
We're about to have an experience here in the studio as both Schwein brothers are in.
Oh boy, that's it. They'd fit right in Mountain Home, Arkansas. Let me tell you,
they'd fit in Arkansas.
Absolutely.
These two characters. What do you got coming up this week on the Sports Bash, Mike?
I'm off next week. I got to charge the battery for Eagles season, man. I don't get any time off from September to the end of the year, so I got to use all my days when I can. So while I was off before, that was an unplanned vacation time that I was going to have to take that off. This has been planned for some time. I'm going to be out of town for a couple of days and get ready for. I think the Eagles open up against Washington next 2 Sundays. I can't believe football is already here, and then high school football is starting too. So we got the Friday night show. We're going to be doing Holy Spirit games. We're going to be streaming them live online this year. So we got a lot. We're stepping up and doing a lot more with the high school football. And next Friday night, Rutgers plays on 97.3. So even though I'm off, I'm still always doing something, right?
We'll have Bobby Schweim fly you out to Hawaii for the week.
I can handle a couple of days in Hawaii. I hear it's nice this time of year.
Good stuff, Mike. We appreciate you hopping on board. We'll catch up with you soon, bud. Thanks.
All right, Sully. Thanks, man.
Have a good weekend, man.
Take care.
That was Mike Gill of the Sports Bash. Weekdays, 2 to 6 p.m.